Hi, I just want to jump right into it and start off by showing you this video.
They talk about doing all this building, but they don't have any building permits to actually do any building, and they have challenges even getting those building permits. This is a tweet from AG. This is a tweet from the Pam Bondi commentary account, not from Pam Bondi officially. But listen to this. Breaking. Governor Greg Abbott, Texas governor, has officially halted construction of the 402-acre Muslim-only Epic City in Texas. Now, I covered this a couple weeks ago that Epic City was going to be a Muslim only city outside of Dallas, right on the outskirts of Dallas. They were talking about how they were going to make it Muslim only. It's antithetical to the Constitution of the United States. It's completely counter to everything that any of our ancestors ever came to America before, or at least most of our ancestors came to America before. But don't take my word for it. Here's a portion of the video from the Epic City backers, funders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, I'm sure many of you have heard of the amazing project that we're doing known as Epic Cities. We are, alhamdulillah, constructing an entire city half an hour from downtown Dallas, literally 30 minutes from our own Plano Masjid over here. It's going to be a city of over 1,000 people. Alhamdulillah, we launched this website last year and we sold the entire phase one within days. Brothers and sisters, this is a limited time opportunity. It is an amazing time to invest for the future, not only in yourselves, but of your children after you. We are, inshallah ta'ala, going to change the entire da'wah scene by demonstrating to the world what it means to be a Muslim living in the West. Well, I don't think it means to be a Muslim living in the West. It means that you get to have your own city where other people can't come, where if you buy a house there, that some of the money has to go to the local mosque or anything else. That's actually completely antithetical to the American belief system. But this has been going on, and there's been a big fight about it now. And by the way, putting aside, okay, so they're not going to allow Muslims there. How do you think it's going to work for women in a community like that? How do you think it's going to work for gays in a community like that? Putting aside that they're not going to sell houses to Christians or Jews or Baha'i or Jainists or anything else. This is not what America is founded upon. By the way, you might be watching that going, but well, wait a minute, there's Koreatown in New York City, or there's Chinatown, or there's areas of Brooklyn where more Jews live. Yeah, but you can't make a whole community and say, okay, we're not going to sell to these other people, or we're going to take some of your mortgage payments and give it to the local mosques, et cetera, et cetera. So you see, again, they're using our system against us. Amy Meck, who is the founder of Rise, Align, Ignite, Reclaim Foundation, she has been talking about this story for years and years. And here's a bit more on what's going on there. She wrote, Allahu Akbar, Texas, a new Sharia city near Dallas. This is how no-go zones begin. This is how the West falls. Radical Imam Yasir Qadhi, a terror-linked extremist, is now building Epic City, a 1,000-plus home of his Islamic stronghold just 30 minutes from Dallas, complete with Sharia-compliant schools, a mosque, and commercial hubs. And he's selling it to non-Americans, pushing an Islamic separatist agenda right here in the heart of Texas. Declared, Jews and Christians are filthy, and that their lives and property can be taken in jihad. Justified taking women as sex slaves in war. Bragged about the Muslim takeover of Sweden, calling birth rate a halal secret weapon. Raised funds for Hamas-linked charities. Was placed on the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's terrorist watch list. Graduated from the radical Islamic University of Medina. Denies the Holocaust, promoting the book The Hoax of the Holocaust, and claiming Hitler never intended to mass destroy the Jews. Quoted the anti-Semitic forgery Protocols of the Elders of Zion to argue that Jews have no right to Israel, supports replacing democracy with Sharia, calling the U.S. a pharaonic society built on slavery, was an acolyte of Ali al-Tamimi, the Virginia-based imam currently serving life in prison for inciting jihad against U.S. troops. Will Americans push back, or will Texas become the next Malmo? Why are Republicans not speaking out? Well, first off, this imam sounds like he's going to be the next leader of the Democratic Party. But yes, Texans have had enough. They have had enough. They started looking into this. They started looking into the terror ties. They started looking at, we have a Sharia compliant city. Is Sharia law compliant with the Constitution of the United States? Is it okay to build, if I bought a plot of land, just think about it this way. If I bought a plot of land, I bought a 1 acre plot of land, I split it into 4 quarter acre plots, and I was like, I'm only going to sell them to white people. or I'm only going to sell them to black people. Would that be legal? Would you want that? Would that be in line with American values? I think we all know the answer to that. Finally, anyway, after weeks of this story just bubbling online and very few shows talking about it, because every time I talk about it, it's an uncomfortable thing to talk about. People are going to call you racist and everything else, but enough of this bull at this point. Finally, this has burst forth into the mainstream, and Texas Governor Greg Abbott discussed it with Laura Ingraham last night. Well, in part by that statement, but also in part by information that we've gathered, there appear to be multiple violations that have taken place here. One is information has been provided to investors that appears to be misleading. Another is they appear to be in violation of fair housing laws. Also, we found that they talk about doing all this building, but they don't have any building permits to actually do any building, and they have challenges even getting those building permits. Believe this or not, we've even received information that they may have been conducting a funeral home without legal authority. Bottom line, Laura, is that there are so many questions arose, especially information that we received, that led us to need to call the elite Texas Rangers to conduct a criminal investigation to find out if criminal laws in Texas have been violated. Putting aside breaking of the law for a second, do you see why I'm trying to connect this to what's going on in Europe right now? We've done it right in this country. And do you want America to just be this dissected place where different people will live in different areas, and which ultimately will become warring factions? The promise of America was we took past warring factions and past religious hatreds and ethnic animosity and all of these things, and we brought everybody to America and we cleaned it up. And now there is a certain type of person that is using the tolerance of the left to use all of our laws and goodness and goodwill towards man against us. And we better figure it out. Here's another video, because it's not just Texas, Michigan. You know about Dearborn, Michigan. But here are two Muslims in Michigan talking about how when they create these cities, that they can use loopholes to make sure that non-Muslims won't show up.
So we're still debating on the name, but it's going to be something Muslim name and a village attached to it, right? The names of the streets, Khalid ibn al-Walid, Tariq bin Ziyad, all the great conquerors. People need to Google those conquerors, and then we want to have different sections like Andalusia, this, that, all our past glories, and we want to bring it back. The way what we're doing, brother, you cannot make it exclusive, non-Muslims not allowed, Kufar not allowed. What we're doing, there's something called association fee. I don't know what it's called in Dubai. Your maintenance fee that you pay yearly, to cutting the service fee, to cut the grass, to remove the snow and whatnot. So that service fee will put there 75% of the service fee you're paying goes to the mosque. Brother, we're putting an application now where we're selecting the names of the streets in the United States of America.
Do I have to comment on this? Do you see what they are doing? They're telling you, here's how we're going to cheat the system. And would you like to live in a town where Muslim conquerors have streets named after them?
Okay, I want to go right into sharing another video with you, and then I'm going to come back and talk with you.
Why you become a refugee? Why you become a refugee? No. You have a country. And I think it's spineless for you to leave your country. They want to fly, risk to come to a man's country to do what? Remember, your culture is not in that man's country. The constitution is not built for you. So why you want to come here? It's very serious, my brother. You're coming to a man's country where your whole life depends on where you're going, my friend. I'm not talking about abuse. Why? Your purpose of travel is to come all the way from a land you don't pay tax, lovely sunshine, you have everything to your access. Why would you do that? To live a tax-free life? You pay tax in England. Why not educate yourself, get a profession, and integrate into society, and help that society to be a better society? Easy. So whatever you can't do in your own country, and you want to do something that has value in a man's country, let's stand together as a humanity. Let's make it happen. But by coming to believe that we owe you something here is the beginning of the destruction. Because when Europeans rise to the occasion, you can't control them. 500 years ago, we would be at an auction at Tower Bridge. We don't talk about the civil rights of black people, the persecution of what we went through. But do we hold it against our predecessor? No, we move on. There are more black millionaires today. Men, look at how we evolve. If you can't learn to let go of the past, your future is not promisable. And everybody here has a problem with Europe, but you're in Europe. Everybody wants to free Palestine in Europe. I've never seen a march in Palestine. Save Palestine, save Palestine. All the first aid that is given to Palestine, money from Europe. What more do you want Europe to do? The Windrush generation was a migrant generation. They migrate to Europe to take up work position into the labor force, to not only to help the British economy, but to make a life of themselves. And they did triumph. We own houses, we have businesses, we have a life. This generation that is around today is spineless. They want it now. Nobody wants to work for anything. They're entitled. Entitled to what? You dare put a Palestinian flag in Westminster. Try do it in Saudi. I dare you fly a Yemen flag in Qatar. But you can't do it there. But that's a Muslim brother country. That's the country of your religion, religious followers. Why you can't do that? Why you respect the law in that country, but you don't want to respect the one here? Sharia law? No. I don't want it in Pakistan or Asia or anywhere. But you want the law you run away from here. Are you ready to stone your mom to death? Are you ready to chop his hand off here? So what you want to do?
So I want to share those two videos with you. One is in the United States, the other is in Europe, but it's the same issue as far as with Muslim. And I know and I understand, and this is not anything against Muslim. I understand that there's difference in Muslim people. But at the same time, we also have to know that there is a thing called radical Islam that some Muslim practice, that some Muslim believe in. And so to want to come to the United States and then build your own city illegally because you're doing everything against the laws of this country in order to build your own city is disrespectful to the country that you're coming into. And so you only want to have Muslims live in that city. And you also want to have your own laws, which is Sharia law. And like in that other video where he was saying you don't want to be in a country, your own country, a Muslim country that has Sharia law, but you want to come to another country and then impose that law. And you see with the United States how they're not just doing it in Texas, they're trying to build other cities everywhere, in other places. When you look at history, because in that first video, they kind of brought up the slavery of Black people by white people, what happened as far as the transatlantic slave trade. But if you really think about it, when it comes to Africa, the first people who actually made slaves of African was Arabs. The majority of Africa was a Christian nation, was different Christian countries in Africa. But when the Arabs came, they fought, they took the people, they took the land, and they turned them into Muslim countries. That's why now you see more Muslim countries in Africa than you see Christian countries. But Christianity was in Africa way before Muslim was, way before Islam, way before Muslims was. There was Christian. But now it looks more of a Muslim country, a Muslim nation than Christianity for that reason. What's currently going on in Africa right now is a lot of people speak about Ibrahim Traore, and I love him, I respect him, and I pray for him. But a lot of people don't speak about why he's really fighting, why he really took over. It's because of radical Islam. These people are taking his land and killing his people, Christians as well as Muslims. But people don't speak about that. They speak more about the European, how he got kicked France out. But it's more to that than just kicking France out, because he's over there fighting, and France wasn't doing their job as far as helping. They wanted to focus more on their resources, on Africa resources, instead of helping Burkina Faso and these other countries that's dealing with the same thing. Radical Islam, Islamic people are over in Africa right now currently killing Christians and killing Muslims who do not fall into the same mindset that they have. It's either you completely turn over or you lose your life. And then, like I said, I understand it's not all Muslims, so I don't want you to think I'm saying that. But at the same time, as a Christian, I have to be mindful of what the Bible say, always be watchful. The devil came to kill, steal, and destroy. Know what's going on around you. That's why I don't just focus on, in America lately, here in America, the focus have been on black and white hate. There's going to be a war between black and white. And that's why I said in another video, while you're focusing on just one thing, the devil is multifaceted. He's going to hit you on different fronts. There's a spiritual warfare. So you have to be vigilant of what's going on around you and don't just be focused in one direction. Because it's like, if you're coming over to this country to live a peaceful life and to I just want to be a Muslim, I just want to have my religion, why do you need to be sneaky about it? Why do you need to break another country's law in order to have a city that's just going to be for Muslims only? Why, and then there's other countries. If you look at other countries where some Muslims have went, they're trying to take over those countries. They're trying to make those countries Muslim countries. I spoke before in another video about caliphate, and then you hear Sharia law. These are things that you need to be aware of, especially as a Christian. And so I just wanted to bring this information and just put it out there. And so just be aware of what's going on and how different things can affect you as a Christian, as an American, because if it becomes a Muslim country, how do you expect your life to be affected or changed? If they want to have Sharia law, do you know what Sharia law is? Are you willing to live under Sharia law? Even if you're a Muslim in this country who might not completely practice your religion based on how they do in other countries, are you willing to live that life in the United States? Because just like that other guy in England stated, you don't wave a Palestinian flag in other Muslim countries saying free Palestine. Not even in Palestine, you're yelling free Palestine. But you come to other countries, you come to America and other countries and do that. They took down the American flag and put up a Palestine flag. But just like he said, you would not go to another Muslim country and do that because you respect them, but you don't respect the country that you're coming to. You have no respect for the United States, but you want to be here. And I spoke about that before. That's why I spoke about this before as Christian. Just be mindful, just be vigilant, continue to read and study your Bible, continue to pray daily, And I would like to thank you for watching this video. My name is Delmarshae. Please like, share, and subscribe.